What is up, everybody? It's me, Duke Farley, back at it again here on Lost at Sea, and I am joined by Sam. Sam from the draft, 2 years in a row. And we're talking about Ascendance Live, Season 3, Episode 3. So, Sam, how are you before we get into it? How's everything going?
Oh, I'm good. I'm rocking my Ascendance merch today.
Merch.
Uh, yeah, I got it in a giveaway, I think, like for season one. So, anyways, life is good. I moved my office, like completely unrelated to anything, but I moved my office around, and so it's my first time seeing like my new view, and like I'm kind of a fan. It's a vibe. Anyways, I'm good.
Well, I'm glad that you brought the new view to the podcast, and we have a lot to talk about this episode. Big fight to stay in the game between
Yeah.
Connor and Keaton. Connor to no avail, obviously. Connor eliminated here unanimously. Do you think like anything that Connor could have said in these last moments would have saved him? Or do you think it was pretty much over once they kind of sat down?
Um, okay, so my initial thoughts, like when I like first heard his plea, like I don't know, I loved like the heart that he put into it and the message that, was coming across. And like I think he was saying all of the right things. However, it seems like maybe like the footwork wasn't done for those words to be effective. So like if Connor's saying like I'm loyal and like I'm here, like I'm going to be a good ally, like keep me around, this is what you want. I think that would have resonated with people more if they like felt that connection, like just on a human level, I guess. And we kind of hear Connor say himself that like he didn't connect maybe with some people as much as he would have liked. And I think maybe given a little bit more time, like he absolutely could have made that happen. But I think that like key part was missing for the argument, or like for the his plea to be effective.
Yeah, and I think you're right because there's a couple people throughout the strategy portion here that kind of were wanting to vote Keaton out, but it seems like Connor just didn't get to those specific people enough for them to like kind of back him. Like I heard Billy say a couple times, Keaton's starting to be a little bit of a train wreck here, and maybe I should start to think about voting him out.
Mhm.
CJ in not even just confessionals, but in the actual footage of the game, was saying that he wants to vote Keaton out and he's cool with Connor. And then there's this connection with Josh also that I thought he seemed to be really close with Connor, but it just wasn't enough. So
Mhm.
it just never.
I'm really curious to kind of go back and listen to like when you asked everybody preseason, like, will you stick your neck out for an ally if their name's going around? I'm just like, what did everyone answer? Because I want to know like if it matched up. Maybe I'll go back.
Yeah, it'll be
Because like
interesting.
we don't see
It's
that happen here. Like nobody's like,
seems like those
another
three answers probably was no.
yeah. Yeah. And then another thing I found interesting about like seeing Connor go here is, and again, it just kind of add another reason to the pile of like, Ascendance is just such a social game. Yes, you have the comps and all that, but in Adam's exit interview, you hear him talk about like some of the connections that he thought he had made that were good but weren't on his team. Connor being one of them, like saying like I heard Connor's name being brought up there. I remember in episode 1, like AJ and Connor, they were bunking together. I know like AJ's really one to like, just get in there, get like incorporated with everybody. I was like, okay, if he has AJ on his side, like Connor's good to go. But you're on different teams, things switch up quick. So if you don't really have that solid like social foundation, like you don't have a lot to work with.
Yeah. Super bummed for Connor going out this early. Connor played season 5 of the org and also was invited back for All Stars. And he goes out early here. So unfortunate. Hopefully I get an exit interview with Connor soon and we can hear
Mm-hmm.
more about his story and what happened. I want to talk about Keaton because Keaton
Yeah.
is just crazy these first 2 rounds. What's going
Yeah.
on?
I know. Honestly, like I'm just so impressed. Like, um, I think it's like Keaton's doing really well for himself. Keaton is in survival mode, and there's only so much you can do when you're trying to, like, you're just dealing with literally what's like right in front of you. But he's done a like really great job of like working with the hand that he's dealt, or maybe the one he dealt for himself, who knows. But um yeah, yeah, I'm curious to hear like what from you. What do you think for Keaton? Like, were you surprised to still see Keaton around by the end of this episode?
I I really was. I thought that well, as soon as they like towards the end, once they kind of turned to Connor, I kind of understood what was going
Yeah,
on. Once I think the confessional, once we kind of hear Josh is turning away from voting
yeah.
um to save Connor, I thought, all right, he's probably not gonna make it because that seems to be one of his closest connections. But I Keaton, I'm not impressed with Keaton. I am really bummed with the way this has started for him. Like, and I don't know if it's self-inflicted. It kind of seems like it. It seems like he's just playing super, super. He's just like so nervous and so
Yeah,
like all over the place. I just hope
yeah.
his team, he either wins captain or his team next round wins because he just needs a break, I think.
You know what? You make a really good point, because I think I'm impressed with Keaton's ability to clean up Keaton's mess. Or
His
at
own,
least
yes.
survive. He set himself on fire, but he stopped, dropped, and rolled in time. So, like, not dead
But
yet, but
there's only so many times you can do that.
yeah.
It's kind of
No,
like three
no, you
strikes,
make
you're
you
out.
make a good point. So, like, yeah, like, had he not made the mess for, the chaos for himself in the first place, maybe, that's
I
true.
definitely could. It could have been an easier couple rounds for him if
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
maybe taken a step back. But
Yeah.
fun competitions here. We brought back the both of these competitions we've seen before. The
Mhm.
captains competition being the word unscrambler, and I thought we had a long word. I guess I don't think we got to hear the words, but Ozzy wins the longest word, and then Erica wins most points, I guess, from Scrabble tiles.
Yeah.
Uh, I was super impressed with Ozzy this episode. I thought he played this round really well. Obviously, he was safe, and it's a lot easier to play from that position. But I thought I saw you mention in the comments stuff about eye contact, and I thought Ozzy had some impeccable eye contact this episode, really looking people in the eyes and
Hmm.
really conversing well. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. I agree with that. And I'm just looking at my notes here because I wrote something down about Ozzy. And yeah, I think so there was a point where like Ozzy got his way. Because like Ozzy, Keaton, Sarah, Marcello at one point in the episode, after the captain's challenge results, they were like, okay, like like we're gonna stick together, we're all gonna vote together this round. And then like he was just really good at checking in with his allies, making it clear and known like where his position was, what he was doing, and like, you know, it was just, yeah, I don't know, just total package. Just what a great round. You know, when like he has a vote as captain, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, wait,
I
that's,
didn't know if
yes,
you were
I know
asking me
this.
that or if you
Yeah.
were just saying that.
Right. So like, but you're safe. So you can take, I think it was just a really good balance of not inserting yourself or like doing too much or doing the most, but like still effectively getting what you want done and having people feel good about the round once it's over and done, like done with. So yeah,
And
I'm a big fan.
And a thing that I liked about Ozzy being captain, when looking at how the two captains kind of played this, it seemed like you saw Ozzy being in a lot of different conversations with a lot of different people. It seemed like he touched everybody that was in on the vote to kind of check in with them. Whereas Erica, we kind of just see her up in the upstairs with mainly CJ the entire round, and then Keaton
Mhm.
and Connor kind of come in every now and then. So I don't know if she even spoke to everybody that was in the vote. Well, that's what
Yeah.
the episode showed, that she kind of was in that same spot the entire time.
Mhm.
Um, which, I mean, it's not the worst thing because she was also safe, but I just thought Ozzy used this captainship more effectively to
Yeah.
talk to people.
Yeah. And one thing I'll kind of piggyback off of, because I got the very similar vibe, was from Marcelo. Marcelo being safe this round, but still having a vote, put him in like that captain position-ish, but without having to actually make the choices of picking teams and all that. But despite like regardless of that safety factor, Marcelo was in there. Similarly to my thoughts about Ozzy, just like that really good balance of, checking in with your allies, letting people know where you're at, saying you're going to do something, and then like following through on it. I think, Marcelo is showing like his allies and people that he's working with that I got you. And I really like how Marcelo played this round too.
Marcelo, guy that you just want to grab a drink with. He
Yeah.
was thrust into the position of Michael Davis from season 1, but he was granted safety, whereas Michael Davis was not, and he was eliminated. I just have to say that every time that this comes up every season. So if you're watching,
Oh, it's a rough spot to be in.
but not for Marcelo this year. Great
No.
spot. I want to shed some light on the team challenge where people are running with jugs of water and chasing each other. And I thought that I called it in the comments. You see my comment. Rocky beasted this. He absolutely destroyed. He really, I think, propelled his team to the win here. How would you fare in a competition like this, Sam, where you have to like be carrying water and running after people?
Uh Not well. I would fall over pretty quickly, honestly. Like I no. Mm-mm.
Not your cup of tea?
No, no, no. I I
Would you be like
really
would you be like Josh and throw up a little bit afterwards?
oh, I wouldn't make it to the end. I wouldn't. I honestly like I could not. I can't run.
That's tough.
So yeah, I think I would be like I would pull a Josh, but like I would probably throw up like a few minutes in and then like roll over and die.
That way your team sees that you're really giving it your all in the challenge too, not just outside of the
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. No, that is true. I'm stubborn and I will go till I fall over. I just will probably fall over quickly.
Shout out to Josh. We were
Hmm.
told that he completed the competition and then immediately threw up twice. Not
Yeah.
once, but twice.
No, props. Like that, like, I don't know, it gives me like the challenge, but like, you'd like bringing it.
And he brought it.
Or maybe just condition yourself a bit better. Who knows? I'm not one to
A lot
talk
of huffing
because
and puffing. A lot of huffing and puffing in all over the
yeah.
place, but they got the challenge done. Let me see. Anything else, Sam, from this episode that we haven't touched on that we want to shed some light on? CJ, I feel like, was a pretty huge factor in the round 1 vote. It seems like he doesn't get his way this round, which is surprising
Mhm.
because it seemed like he was going to be playing a little bit more aggressive, but he took a kind of step back and voted Connor out here.
Yeah, yeah. I think CJ absolutely made the right call. Like I was just watching, like I felt like just towing the line of like, I could just tell. I could
Go
almost like
crazy.
see myself in CJ, like just like, basically like I have to sit on my hands because if I don't, I'm gonna I just want to get my way. But like, I think he took his foot off the gas a little bit as he should have because um when we got the preview for like the episode when like the YouTube thing comes up and you see the episode title and like the little screen grab, seeing Madison and CJ, um I was like, oh, like Madison's probably maybe gonna call out CJ for like saying a bunch of names last round, but like, I almost forget how fast this game moves. And like, especially early on, you don't really have time to think about what happened in like the previous round. So unless it's like made a lasting impact, or is like relevant, it just didn't come up. So it almost felt like CJ, at least from what we've been shown, is not catching like a ton of heat from, all of that hard work from the first round, which is honestly amazing because
Yeah.
like you often see that happen where, if you're the one doing the most and you're the first one to do it, like it sticks out. And
Yeah.
not at least not
Not
from
this
what we
time.
see here, which is pretty cool.
I think it was smart of him to kind of take a step back and
Oh yeah.
let kind of other people kind of guide where this vote went. Um, speaking of, well, I guess not speaking of, another point that I want to bring up is there's a lot of people that have not been doing elimination yet. And I'm
Yeah.
looking at these teams and I'm looking at AJ, Rocky, Rory, Taylor, Kiera. I think I'm saying her name right. I
I think
have to
so.
look back. Yeah, Kiera. Um, haven't been to an elimination. So it seems like the teams were broken up in a way that a lot of the people from the first elimination were then again involved in this next elimination. What do you think
Mhm.
about these people that are not seeing the vote? They just keep winning.
um yeah, I find I'm seeing like certain people like Emily, for example. We're seeing Emily in like a lot of, we're not okay, let me backtrack. So we're not seeing Emily in a lot of these conversations, but we're seeing clips of her like either talking to Rory or talking, I think it was Taylor and Kiara. I can't remember exactly, but like relaying a lot of like the information that like us as viewers, like we know because like we've seen the conversations on the other side of it. But it seems like Emily especially is keeping herself in the loop. So like we see her talk about like the whole Connor Keaton, situation, and she's filling others in on like what's going on. We also see a clip of Taylor just sharing who had like what clue to what advantage. And so like we're still seeing little snippets of some people like just kind of keeping up with the game instead of like taking that back seat. One thing I will say for AJ specifically, and this is just kind of pure speculation, but I just know like if I saw AJ in a game, and like we aren't like, let's just say we're not working together, like that's a problem. Like AJ is so good. And I think, this is almost a blessing, I think, for AJ because, there's just no light being shown on like on AJ, but like AJ knows what he's doing. So like he's still, I'm sure, even though we're not seeing it, I'm speculating that like, he's
He's putting
making
in the
his
work.
base. He's putting in the work, right? So like, yeah, I'm just so impressed with like everybody, honestly, because yeah, like the red team or like even the people who aren't going, they're still kind of like staying in the mix a little bit. Nobody to me right now, like again, I'm gonna say aside from AJ, who knows, maybe this bites AJ in the butt, like the fact that we're not getting that FaceTime, but they're still a little bit in like the storyline of the episode. And um they're like, yeah, nobody's really taking a super long break.
Yeah, which I think is really smart of the people that aren't heading to these eliminations. I do want to bring up something that I forgot to talk about last episode.
Mm.
In terms of powers, we
Oh
saw at the
yeah.
beginning of last episode, Emily got a Ascendance advantage, something that we've never seen before, and
Mm-hmm.
it increases in strength day by day. So let me pull up my Excel spreadsheet here just to make sure I have correct what happens. So
Yeah.
at first it's an extra vote, then it moves to the next day to a steal a vote. The next day, safety without power, and then the final day, it becomes a full-blown pendant. So we've never seen this in Ascendance, so it'll be interesting to follow along to see if she, stays full days. It's tough to kind of tell in the episode when like the actual day is over or whatnot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks like right now they're in the first day, so this is probably just a extra vote. I do want to just mention that because I forgot to last episode. Thoughts on that power? We've never seen that, right?
Yeah, I love it, honestly. It's really neat. And I it's one of those things that like it depending on who gets it, like if somebody gets it who just like has to tell somebody, like, their closest ally or like who whatever, like that it could be just such a liability, right? Because you've got this thing that's just going to keep growing in power. And if other people know, um, they're we got to flush it before it's a freaking pendant, right? But if you're like, it's just one of those things that like if you can keep that like, under wraps completely, um just I don't know. It's just a really cool power.
Yeah, it grows stronger by the day.
Yeah.
Um, I
I don't
asked.
like
Go
I don't
ahead.
I was just gonna say like what do you think? Like is that something that Emily should just keep close to her chest, or something that you maybe want to like collaborate with somebody you trust on and be like, how do we best use this?
It's definitely going to be contingent on how. First of all, if it's going to be if it turns into a power, um, well, first of all, if she's in danger, obviously she needs to like use it on herself.
Yeah.
But um, it's gonna for me, it would be like if I were in a game, like if I was in the same season that I played with my number one ally, Peyton, and I knew that myself and Peyton could use it to better ourselves. Um, or if I knew like I had an ally that probably has more information than I'm getting, then I probably would tell them that just so we could both kind of collaborate on it. Um, which it seems like
Mhm.
Emily might be. I'm not really sure who her number one ally is. I'm assuming it's probably going to be Josh, just because of like this little flirt mance that we see going on.
Yes.
But if that is the case, I would say that he would probably be a great person to let know about the power because he seems to have a good kind of idea of what's going on. Him being like in danger twice, being at the vote a couple times, and just kind
Hmm.
of like the vibe that I got from him as a person. I think he would be a good person to collaborate with, or I would keep that shit to myself.
Yeah. 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 No, I think
I
yeah, no,
usually lean towards keep the stuff to yourself, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's usually where I lean to as well because I'm just like paranoid. But I do think, yeah, especially with Josh having lost Connor. And I don't know if maybe like if Emily recognizes that or whatever, but that's interesting. You could really lean into that. Be like, here, let me be your number one now.
Yeah. Um, but I asked Jabbar this last episode. I know it's really early. I want to take Keaton off the board again here because I feel like he's probably the most publicly in danger right now of being eliminated. Who do you think's in danger other than Keaton?
Okay,
Kind of
looking at
interesting.
my
Sarah's name was the name that was
faces.
brought up, but I don't know if that was just kind of like a random one-off thing or if like I'm not really sure why her name was brought up by the two of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what like the reasoning behind that is. Um, but I think, just based off of how involved she was in the round, maybe Erica, like, maybe not being as hands-on with and not really like taking a position and just being like, like whatever, or like just yeah, I'm not sure what she's like really thinking, if it's like, intentional, just being like, yeah, I'm just here, like, nobody pay attention to me, I'm not a threat, or if like what it is. But like, yeah, I think that might come back to bite her a little bit depending, on team composition. um and then yeah, I don't know.
I think that's a great
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
I think
that.
that's a great point. I do want to give Erica props on her captain win. I remember in our interview, she had a lot of words ready for this competition, already thought of.
Awesome.
So I'm assuming one of the words worked for her. She seemed
Yeah,
like she didn't think that 22 points would win it, but it did. Um,
yeah, heck yeah.
and I do actually want to talk about Taylor. I thought there was an interesting, which probably will play out later in the season, but Taylor being on to the fact that Ozzy chooses Madison for his team, and that Madison chose Ozzy for her team and all that good stuff. It seems like
Hmm.
Taylor is kind of sussing them out. So I wonder if that's going to be taken care of in the next couple rounds in terms of,
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
visibility.
I mean, if there's a cast that is like ruthless enough to just, like chop people's heads off just because, like, oh, you might be a threat down the road. Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
They're
I
playing
like
hard
this,
fast.
like this every freaking week in this in live three is just gonna be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think if yeah, I could see somebody just going ruthless cutthroat, going for it.
And we'll have to see in the next episode. Besides your draft team of, I think, AJ, Marcelo, and Kiara or Kiara. I'm gonna figure out how to say her name by the end of the season. I swear to God. But who do you think's in a great position?
Um, I think, I mean, I think Rocky is in a great, super great position right now. You know, like once it gets to like we're a ways away. Once it gets to the individual phase, then that might be a bit scarier. The people that perform really well in challenges, like the people are going to want to keep Rocky around for a multitude of reasons, but like I think Rocky's doing well.
Yeah,
Who else? Let me look.
Rocky had a great
Oh, okay, yeah,
episode, I think.
Marcelo's not on here. Um, we didn't see much from Rocky this episode, though. I mean, like, which makes sense. Like, they won, they were chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just yeah.
But
Even though we didn't see much of Rocky, I just got good vibes.
good vibes. Sam, that is it. That's it for this episode here. Pleasure talking to you about it always. And yeah, I appreciate it. And hopefully we get to talk to Connor sometime. I'll reach out to him soon and hopefully I can get an exit interview with him. But besides that,
Yes.
Sam, appreciate you coming on the podcast again.
Yeah, anytime. It's always a good time.
Perfect.